I really don't want to be, but it's not the worst job. But at least you go in and, if you know, you're going to do very well as a governor. You're going to be well respected. Do the fucking right thing. Do the job that you're supposed to do. It's really, really easy. Make believe all those people in your state is your family. And you want to take care of them the best way possible.
All righty. Next question comes from Instagram. This is from Braden. He says, what does Sammy think about farm teams in the mob?
Think of what?
Farm teams.
Farmers. Team?
Mm-hmm.
You mean, I don't know, like a baseball, the farm team? Yeah. We don't really have that. I don't think. There's young guys that they look at growing up. They like the way they carry themselves, what they do, how they think. They know their families. If they don't look at it as a farm team, you kind of stick out. And they say, this guy would be a good guy to become a friend of ours, meaning a made guy. And it takes a long time. They do the picking. You don't do it yourself. You don't go and join, say, it's not a club that you can go join or a gang. You have to be, somebody has to propose you to become a made guy. And it's because they looked at your whole history. What you did when you got arrested, what you did when you were in school, what you did with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever. They want to see the character, what you're like. And they propose you or not propose you. I never asked to be a made guy. I was proposed by Tato Arello. He saw me as somebody could be trusted and he liked, and he thought I would make a good friend of ours. And he proposed me to be one.
Next question comes from TikTok. This is from Lone Desert Rider, who's probably going to be here for this, but he says, is Sammy coming to Steven's Steakhouse in LA?
I'm talking about it, yes. I'm still working on that. I have a surgery coming up, and it seems to be, I have a heart surgery. I have 2 leaky valves. I've had it for quite a while. The doctors are looking at it and saying, we think we're going to have to do it pretty soon. So I'm waiting on their decision. I'm supposed to do this lobster with a mobster. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it. It's late October. I think it's October 18th or the 17th, 18th?
18th.
The 18th. Now, if I'm going in for heart surgery before that, a couple of weeks or a couple of days before, I probably won't be doing it. I'm going to have to pull away. But we'll see what the doctors say.
Yes, we're hoping for the best. Everything will proceed as usual.
Tickets are in the bio.
Yes, tickets are in the bio. So everybody tune into that. Let's get those likes and subscribers up, guys. Let me see you guys hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing to all the platforms again. YouTube, Patreon, TikTok, and of course our thing. Let's get you guys on there. I have a couple of questions for you, Sammy. Al Star wants to know, Sammy, do you ever miss Bensonhurst? It's where you grew up, and I know I miss my old neighborhoods.
Yes, I think everybody feels like that. I love Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. The whole community there was good. You know, on my block, I lived on 78th Street between 17th and 18th Avenue. I knew, everybody knew me, I knew everybody. Or we had friends, so we knew their parents, even the people who weren't parents. All my neighbors. When it would snow, I would shovel my walk and in my house, and the 2 neighbors. My father said, shovel them. They're old people, they go to work, and I would shovel them. And I had a fish tank. My neighbor, Mr. Goober, bought me fish for my tank. It was that kind of a relationship. We played stickball in the street. We never, answered people. Like if somebody said, hey, come on, stop yelling, go over there. We did it. We didn't argue back. Today, you say that, these kids will shoot at you. But we never did that. I miss Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. It was great. I got caught stealing in my grocery store. I stole, I think, a package of Twinkies or whatever I stole. And the guy saw me, grabbed me. He said, Sammy, come here. You stole that, you didn't pay for it, you took it on the way out. And I was almost in tears because the guy was always good to me. But, it was a package of Twinkies. But he didn't tell my mother and father. And he said, what I'm going to do is a punishment. When I get orders, you come with your bike and you're going to deliver some orders to make it up. And you're going to promise me you'll never do that again. So they tried to not hurt me. They tried to educate me to do the right thing. That's the kind of people who were in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. So they were good people. Everybody, if it snowed, everybody was helping one another. I never had a problem on that block. I loved the people on the block. We had pigeons on the roof. I couldn't put them on my roof. It was a different kind of roof. My friend Louis Tropia was halfway down the block. His grandfather owned a four-family building, a big one, and he gave us the roof for our pigeons. Everybody seemed to work together, have fun together. Yes, I do miss what Bensonhurst, Brooklyn was then. I don't know what it's like now. I hear it's not too good. Friends of mine and family, not my particular block, but the neighborhood itself changed. But I have good memories, and I never want to take those memories away from how it was back then.
The Italiano has a question. Salute from North Carolina. I'm a longtime follower, first time posting. I was just curious about the 5 families in New York City. I never understood how the families divide their territory in the 5 boroughs.
We didn't have territories. You could go in any place you wanted in all of New York. All you had to do is respect certain things. In other words, let's say a guy had a club, a gambling club, on 18th Avenue and 78th Street. You don't want to go right next door or 2 stores away and open up a gambling club. Respect his rights. He's over there. So go 3, 4, 5 blocks away. And there was no problem. But there was no, we own Bensonhurst, or we own the Bronx, or we own Queens. It didn't work like that. Guys were able to bounce around more or less where they lived. A lot of guys came from Bensonhurst. It seemed to be the hub of everything, and Manhattan. So that's not as many in Queens or in the Bronx. There was a few hangouts and stuff and guys, but there was no such thing as an area. This is my area, my borough. No, that didn't exist. Some people dominated areas. I mean, a lot of Gambinos were in Brooklyn. A lot of Colombos were in Brooklyn because they were born and raised there. So, but we didn't own it.
El Gato back in the super chat. Salute to Sammy. Is it better to live in the Bronx or Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, without a doubt. Now, Bronx, it was always noted, it was a run-down, beat-up neighborhood, mostly controlled by blacks and Puerto Ricans and different people. And, you don't want to go in it. That's their area. It was a tough area. I remember we were doing a construction site. And I went to the construction site with a car. I did have a gun. And I got a black guy, he was an engineer. He was on the job. And we were going to go in my car and look at everything. While I was driving, the guy said, listen, if you hit a kid with the car, just keep going, don't stop. I said, why would I do that? He said, the people here will come down, they'll kill you. So I said, well, why? Because it's a black man? But he said, yeah, and you're a white guy. I said, well, I'm sitting with you, you're a black guy. He said, they'll kill the 2 of us. That's how fucked up and bad the neighborhood was. He said, don't stop. I would stop. I had a gun anyway, so I would have stopped. And if I hit a kid, what am I going to do? Just run him over? So But anyway, that's what the Bronx was. It was that kind of a neighborhood. So a lot of guys, there was Arthur Avenue, there was Frankie Lucasio on Arthur Avenue, had a club, restaurant that they hung out on Arthur Avenue. It's a pretty powerful crew. And they were a crew here and there, but there wasn't a lot of Italian people there. Mostly, it was black, Hispanic, stuff like that.
Okay, I have another question from Jack Ruby. Sammy, did you know Rocco Napoli from the Genovese family?
Rocco what?
Is it Napoli?
Napoli?
Napoli? I was going to say it like that. And then I was like, maybe I'm saying it wrong. Let me not.
The name is ringing a bell. I can't visualize the face, to be honest with you.
Okay. Dave in Pittsburgh wants to know, can you give an example of someone who was put on the shelf, and what did they do and how long were they shelved?
Yeah, there was a lot of guys who got shelved from time to time for things they did. There was a couple of guys. There was a guy in the Genovese family who was gay. They didn't kill him, but they shelved him. They said, do what you're doing. We don't care. But you can't, come around with us and hang out like that. Definitely don't come to a sit down with a fucking dress on. And it may sound funny, but they just use that. The guy in the Jersey family, they said he was gay. I still question that. And they killed him. He was the underboss. I thought that was wrong, but it was done. It's too late. And so there's guys who got shelved for different reasons. Some guys answered maybe in an argument. The how he shouldn't have answered. Maybe he got a little too rough in his vocabulary. They may have shelved him. It happened one time with, there was two brothers in the Gravano family who were made, Chilli brothers. And one night I was in a club, and not an after hours, it was like a disco. And I was talking to a couple of people, and this guy, I think it was Jerry Chilli or Joe Chilli, which one of them, was arguing with Joe Watts. And he was abusing the shit out of Joe Watts. And there was some maid guys in the Genovese family. I got up and I told the guys, Chilli, I said, hey, bro, I pulled him on the side to talk to him a little bit. I said, listen, this guy's very, very close with Paul Castellano. You're abusing the shit out of him. If you're arguing, go outside, argue with him, but don't make the guy look like a hump in front of everybody. He told me, mind your fucking business. I said, listen, I'm trying to be a fucking nice guy. Don't argue with him no more. Argue with me. I'll put my foot up your fucking ass. We had that kind of an argument. Somebody in the Genovese family knew we were both made guys and stopped us and told me and him the same thing. Hey, listen, bro, we know you're friends. Go outside, bro. Don't do this. Don't have that guy. Sammy, stop it. And we stopped. We didn't go outside, but we didn't argue again. The next day, I was called in for Paul Castellano, and I was asked, there was an argument in the disco last night. You were in it with this Junior Chilli, Jerry Chilli, or Junior, whichever one. What happened? So I said, nothing. We had an argument. He says, listen, Joe Watts spoke to us, told us exactly what he was saying, what he was doing to Joe Watts. They told us what you said, that you stuck up for him, told him that he was with Paul Castellano, calm down. And he didn't calm down. We take that now as an offense to us. You did the right thing. Don't worry about it. You're not in trouble. But I didn't want to rat the guy out. And I said, well, I don't remember word for word what happened, but we argued about it, And anyway, there was another sit down with the bosses of the Gravano family came in. They gave me right. They gave Jerry Chilli wrong. And they put him on the shelf. I think he was on the shelf for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And that means that nobody's going to bother with him. Nobody's going to recognize he's a main guy. And it's an embarrassment. But that's because he didn't watch his mouth. Once he's told that the guy is close to Port Castellano, calm the fuck down. And if you're going to talk outside there, not in front of everybody. So for things like that, you could get shelved. There's reasons why you can get shelved. And listen, it's a good thing because if you didn't have that reason, he would have probably got killed. So he's not getting killed, he's just being shelved for being an asshole.
I have another super chat from Tom Faber. He says, "Hey, Sammy, may I have a shout out? And also, do you believe the government has UFOs?" His name is Tom.
Tom, how you doing, Tom? The government has what?
UFOs.
USOs?
UFOs.
Oh, UFOs?
Like aliens and Area 51, you know.
There's a lot of things through the years that I saw reports from pilots, Air Force people, military people, colonels. So I think there is some truth to it. Whether they have it and they're hiding it. And they did that years ago, Area 51, because they were afraid to make the public scared. I think that's a wrong move. If there's UFOs, say it. Tell the people the truth. Why are we the only planet out of all the planets with people? I know that I watched the science program that there is water and oxygen on Mars. Now, how do we know that there wasn't people on Mars who lived millions or billions of years ago? And then it happened here. If you look at the Bible, how God started this planet and everything like that, and if you believe in God, I mean, he's not of this planet, he's above somewhere. So I don't know if there's UFOs. I know there's God, I believe in that. So why not? Maybe there was life on another planet. It wouldn't be a shock to me, And it would be a good thing if it's true, because if the planet itself deteriorated and killed all life, then something we should know. Maybe we're doing the wrong thing here. Maybe our planet will become a deserted planet like Mars someday. Who knows? So it's good conversation, it's good thought, and you can look at it either way.
Okay, I'm going to pass this back over to Sterling to see if she has any more.
I did have a date one time. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think she came from Mars. But I don't even want to tell her name.
I thought women were from Venus.
Oh, Venus? This one came from Mars, for sure.
I guess not. You and me, Zach, on TikTok would like to know, have you ever read the book The Truth of the Mafia by Dr. Mike Hunt?
No.
No. We'll have to look for that one. This is John from Instagram. This is a question that I've wanted to ask for a while now. Who would you rather run the country? The United States government, the church, or the mafia? Out of those three.
I think to run a country, I think you need an equal part of all of that. An equal part, and I say, with no disrespect, meant that Trump is a gangster. I look at what he's doing in the past weeks and months with drugs. We're losing 100,000 kids a year to drugs coming in from different countries. It's been flowing in from Venezuela. Countries like Colombia and all these other countries bring it to Venezuela because they're good at smuggling it in. Now he's blowing up boats and he's shooting planes down. And now he made a statement, I'm going to come into Venezuela because it looks like the government is hooked with them with the drug cartels, and I'm going to kill you right there. That's a gangster move. And I'm with it 100%. Some people say it's too harsh. 100,000 kids a year is harsh. We have to stop it. I think what he's doing or planning, I think that's mafia. I think that's gangster. I'm behind it 100%. I love and respect God, so I think he should be part of the thing. And then there are politicians who go to school. You know, these kids grow smart, and if they're honest and good kids, it should be a combination of all three. It's not one thing. It's not men, it's men and women. When I was a kid, women were, in my opinion, much smarter than men. When I would cheat on a test, I would never look at another guy's mark. You know, what is he doing? I'd copy it. I would always look at a woman, a girl, because they had the right answers. They were smarter. We were busy fighting and doing all kinds of bullshit. Girls were out there going to school. So I think everything is a combination. Can't have just men. You need men and women. You can't have one race. White people. You need white, you need black, you need Hispanic, you need Asian. That's what makes a rounded society. So you need all of those things. And so all of those three things I just mentioned, I think would make a perfect government.
Great question. Shadow Band Man on TikTok would like to know, what's your take on the lottery winning group being tied to intelligence agencies?
Lotto groups?
Lottery.
Is tied to intelligence agencies? Mm-hmm. I never heard that. I don't know. And I don't think it's a good thing. Why should it be tied to them?
True. This one is from L. Who owns the club where you guys used to hang out?
Oh, really?
Oh, no, they're wondering who owns the club.
Oh, who owns the club?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who owns the club.
On TikTok, MNC432, was it you turning state's evidence that caused the Hells Angels taking over the dozen?
No, I never heard that. I'm accused of a lot of things. I never heard that one.
All right. Peter Paul from TikTok would like to know, how many Peters and how many Pauls did you know?
You know, Peter and Paul is a common Italian name, and there's lots of them. I mean, there's a lot of Peters and a lot of Pauls.
Another question from L on TikTok. Who was sitting on the most cash in that family at the time?
I mean, I know, if it were you're talking about when Paul Castellano was the boss, I would have to say him. He was sitting on, he had a legitimate chicken company. When he got arrested one time, it said the company was grossing $52 million a year. I'm talking 50-something, 60 years ago. So that was only one of his legitimate companies. He had other ones, and he was a boss of a family. Before that, he was a captain for a very long time. So I would say that he was one of the richest guys around.
I think his house speaks for himself.
His house is a mansion. I think they just put it for sale for $18 or $20 million. So, I mean, his house was gorgeous.
Just Your Ram on TikTok says, hi, weird question, but was the mob violence worse in the 50s and 60s or worse in the 70s and 80s?
I don't know about worse, but I think in the 50s and 60s, the 70s and 80s is my time. I think it was like the Wild West. I mean, there was bodies all over the place. The Mafia was doing a lot of work. It was 5 families. Families from out of town were in New York. There's a lot of mob guys, a lot.
Leb KZ on TikTok says, Sammy, did you ever hear anything about Polish-made guys? And thank you for your answer.
Polish-made guys? No, I don't think I ever met a Polish.
Not a question, but a comment from Chrissy. I know you're way beyond your old lifestyle, but it fascinates us that you have experienced it.
Well, I appreciate that it experiences. It took 22 of my years. I did a little over 22 years of my life in prisons. So, I mean, it could be fascinating, but if people are listening to it, especially you younger guys, well, prison's a bitch because you lose your freedom, and so it's not a good way of life, really. I spent 22 years of my life in prisons and stuff, so it's really not a good life. It was run good for a while. It does make some good decisions, but you pay through the nose for your bad decisions.
Quick question for you. This will be the last question before we wrap up.
Okay.
Cobra wants to know, in your opinion, Sammy, what's the most accurate mob movie?
The most accurate mob movie? Well, I say it a lot of times, Godfather 1 and 2, I think was very accurate. Not only about the Mafia, what it did, but the Italians, how they lived, how they celebrated weddings and parties. It just, everything fit. So I think it wasn't accurate as far as a story. Like, if I do my scripted show, if I ever do it, the people I'm working with or talking with, we're going to be very accurate. We're going to be as accurate as possible. Goodfellas was pretty accurate. Casino, they say, is very accurate. Parts of it I know is accurate. The other parts, I really didn't know them that well. But people said that was pretty accurate. Stuff like that. And there's some, I just talked with somebody recently about Witness to the Mob. And parts of that was, they try to work with some accuracy on the story. Some of it's exaggerated. And so I talked about that movie as well. It was supposed to be about me. I didn't make it. I had nothing to do with it. But I just did a video with somebody. You'll see it recently.
Okay. That's going to do it for today's live. I want to remind everybody to hit the merch shop. We are coming out with a new Christmas card this year. Stay tuned for that. We have a lot of goodies coming out, and a new table in the back is coming out. So stay tuned for all of that. I want to wish you guys a very, very good week. And Boss Man, you want to take everybody out?
All right, guys, listen, normally how I say goodbye, but I'm going to stop doing that. All right, adios, my friends. Love you guys. And I pray for your mother. I forgot
Kenneth.
Kenneth, I pray for your mother. I didn't forget. Adios.